Hello, lovely people. I am going to try and work really, really hard in these two rapid games. I'm going to play one 10-minute plus 0 and one 15 plus 10. And I'm going to try and put maximal effort in, working really hard, not being lazy, calculating when I think appropriate, and trying to avoid blunders, just play as good as I can, but by forcing it, like really intense work. See how that affects me. All right, we'll start with a 10 plus. Should we start with a 10 plus 0? Yeah, start with a 10 plus 0 because I've got up to 1761 mostly by doing that. So I think I'm more used to that. And then I'll play a 15 plus 10 game. So I'll probably get into a difficult situation in that game, but we'll see. Ugo Renato. So I'm playing the King's Indian against d4, which is characterized by these moves. I've not seen this setup before, I don't think. Okay, so making sure the knight can't jump in, but also allowing my bishop to develop. I think I'm just going to castle. Kind of want to do this, but it's probably... I just like the idea of stopping them pushing their backwards pawn forwards. I could develop my bishop to f5, and then I'd be completely... I'm already controlling this square, but I would be stopping the pawn moving forward, even if this move, for example. They couldn't push this just yet. They might be able to prep it, but then their king side would be completely open, very airy. I like this move. So, I didn't see this move, but I'm quite happy to trade and get this very nicely placed knight for now. This knight is a bit offside and needs to come back at some point because these squares aren't available for it. Now, do I support the knight with a knight, or do I push a pawn? Because I don't really want to retreat. I could attack this knight by pushing here. I think I'm going to support this knight. I am playing far too slowly, like ridiculously far too slowly as well. Just a sneaky move, like they may not notice that, yeah, okay, they do notice, I think, that their knight's in a bad position there. So this knight isn't in a good position. It's on its second rank. My knight is on its third rank and can go forward, whereas that knight couldn't go forward. So I wasn't going to trade it. I'm not going to take this bishop if they don't move it, but it just might seem as though I am. My opponent is playing really fast. I think they have seen that they're ahead on time and they've just thought, okay, let's just play within a few seconds each move. And because I forgot that I was playing a 10 plus 0 game for the first half of the game, I've sort of got to keep up. My bishop is good, their bishop is bad. That's one thing to note in this position. But how do I make progress? I guess go after this square. Wow, okay, didn't expect that. Going into here potentially. Now, do I take the bad bishop so that I can break through on b4? I don't know. Push, takes. I mean, I've got enough on it. I don't need to take the bad bishop. I think because I saw two pawns defending, but I think that's fine. So push, takes. They probably won't take, I guess, is the answer to the question. But then I can break through here I can take here. I think they've rushed because I do think that black's in a better position now than white. This is a very sad bishop. So I don't want to go passive and go to f8. I think I have to just trade rooks. So one pawn ahead, passed pawn, probably a better knight, but it's basically the same. I think a better knight just because this king is a little bit trapped. Or like I can come over and make their king position look worse. So I am threatening to come here and then do scary things. That is still on. In fact, it's made a bit better because it's a check now. They can't block. There, or there. They can't come back here. Well, they can, but then it gets worse, I think, for white. Yep, okay. I think this wins the queen. Check. Has to go here. Ah, no, the knight's covering. The knight's covering that square. I think I'm just going to go back then. And then, yeah, just go back. Because now I am threatening to come in again and trade off the queens. If I trade off the queens, I think I win. Yeah, let's do that because I'm very low on time. I might start pushing this pawn as well. But this knight can come in if I do push the pawn, so I need to be careful. Takes. They could have won then. They could have pushed that pawn. I wouldn't be able to catch it. I forgot that this was... I'd created tension here, so it was bad. Bad for me to do that. So I think they're just losing, but they didn't need to lose this. So because they had that pawn move, I could do that and it wasn't stalemate. I'll keep that pawn actually, because just in case I accidentally stalemate them. Whew. That wasn't a good game. I messed up at the end. All right, quick look at it then. So playing the King's Indian, but like I said, I wasn't used to seeing this, and I think I was just too tempted to take advantage of this weak square and this backward pawn, or try and turn it into a properly backward pawn where it can't move forwards. But missed this and had to give up my bishop, which wasn't the end of the world, but it meant I had to sort of take some actions to avoid just losing advantage. And I think my opponent just was playing very quickly and sort of, it didn't look like I had much of a plan. It was just like, okay, well, let's trade this off. Let's try and trade this off. And I was happy to, like I say, in this position, if you compare these two knights, my knight can move forward at any moment in a couple of different directions. And as soon as this moves, then I can go here as well. Whereas this knight can't go here, can't go here, can't go here, can only go back to f3 if it wants to move forwards. So yeah, I was very happy just to keep this flexible knight. But I didn't design this, like I didn't plan this out so well that I had all these nice forward moves. I think my opponent just rushed and didn't sort of consider that my knight was going to be better than their knight in this position. So looking for this break, and yeah, I couldn't just come straight across here because they would have forked me. So just trying to get to like this square, I think, or just trying to add pressure on the G file without. And also, I thought the reason I came across here is because I just thought it was like nice pressure here. Like, I don't know, imagining a scenario where my opponent has a pinned pawn on f6, f5, sorry. So they move around, and I'm doing the same thing. Like, just again, no, I don't want to give up my knight for your knight. And yeah, I managed to get this amazing battery on the G file. Maybe I shouldn't have allowed the knight to come here because it ended up having a nice safe haven there. But I think I needed my bishop, so yeah, it's difficult to say. And okay, so was there a way I could have? Yeah, I mean, maybe I could have waited. Maybe I could have just been patient because this can happen at any time. Like, my opponent's not going to move here because then they could move there, I suppose, but then it's going to force this with even greater. This has less defense now, this square, the G5 square. So I think I could have maybe gone like super slow, and I don't know if this would work, but basically have the queen and the rook swap places. Would that work? No, it means I couldn't have taken the pawn at the end. I don't know. Just something so that this rook can't come down at the end, maybe. Because I don't like that now I have to trade the rooks off. It's not terrible. I suppose it may be even better for black to have traded the rooks off because black has the isolated pawn, the passed pawn, and the extra passed pawn. And then there's got to be something here. I feel like there's got to be something here. Maybe I can't even push, and I can't dislodge that knight. So the knight's doing an excellent job guarding this square, but maybe here there was something more than I rushed this a little bit, or at least I was only looking at this part of the board when asking the question, like, does that work? I didn't notice this knight. All right, so in this position, I did have another chance. I think I should have made better use. I had this, didn't I? I was just too quick to think. Well, I suppose practically I wanted to trade the queens off because I had less time, and I thought I could make use of the extra pawn. Let's get back. Let's do things in order. But let's say in this position, I could have. What was this? I didn't really know what this knight threat was. Maybe just doing what they did in the game and just trying to trade off knights. But I could have gone here, and I have two extra pawns now. I could still get the, and then they come here. Maybe I still have the queen trade even now. I'm not gonna trade knights now because the queens are still on. But maybe I just trade queens, and there's a lot to think about. They can't come here again for that reason. Oh, they can. They're still, that knight is covering that square all the time. Okay, but yeah, we trade queens, and then my opponent had a winning move there that they didn't notice. So I was thinking I can trade knights because I can catch this pawn when it gets to here. Forgetting that if I do that, then I've also just set myself up for a pawn move. A pawn takes here. So they take, and I go chasing after the pawn, and it just goes, boop. Ah, I'm screwed. And then I lose, definitely. So I thought, no, I've ruined it. I'll just take quickly, hoping that they won't notice. And they didn't. But yeah, at this point, they could have done this, and I can do this, but they are winning the game. They're winning the race. Maybe it's not so clear cut because they actually can't get back. But I didn't. This is a mistake by me. It was just bad calculating, missing that I'd just done this basically, and then I did manage to catch it, and then the rest is winning up a queen. All right, 15 plus 10. Let's go. But yeah, I was completely in my own head in that 10 plus 0, forgetting it wasn't a 15 plus 10 game. Okay, so we face the Sicilian. I am going to go knight f3, and then bishop c4. I think I have to go knight c3 because if this, without knight c3, I get kicked back, the bishop has to come back here. And then maybe even this. Now, I think I managed to get from 1650 or 1600 even, I don't know exactly when it was, to 1769, almost exclusively playing 10+0 games. So I need to make sure that I don't underestimate a 1682 in 15+10, which I'm not very well practiced in, especially in the Sicilian, which I just don't know. I want to do this. I want to just push. Is that a bad move? So pawn e5. The knight can't come to d5, or it can, but I can then win a pawn. So it might go to g4, and then we've got a pawn which is now attacked twice and only defended once. I'm going to prep e5 because I don't like the idea of having to defend the e5 pawn with my queen, which I think I would have to do. That's okay. So I want to castle because they've opened up the e-file. Okay, so they want to castle too. But I think I can make use of the fact that they're not yet castled. I have pinned this knight, and I think I can win a bishop. And if I do this and they castle straight away, and I take. Yeah, they don't have time to get my king, my undefended king. I mean, yeah, I think we're good. Notice how I need to notice that I played h3 and just, of course, my opponent can just break in the center. But I'm not calculating that. I think transitioning from intuitive 10+0 chess to calculating in 15+10, my chess abilities just slip. I didn't even see this move. I think I'm going to take this with check and then reinforce this knight. I could actually reinforce it with the queen. So queen out, castles, rook over. The bishop being in the way does help. Need to be careful of this bishop being able to do this with my rook here and my queen here. So I was just looking to see if there's a way that black can reinforce the a6 square with a threat. So if this was a hanging pawn, for example, then I'd be in trouble if I castled. Say if I castled now, and then my opponent threatens this pawn, and then they can come in with the bishop. It's not terrible because I can just push the pawn actually, but it doesn't really work. So I think I'm going to castle now, get out of the horrible queen-king lineup. Problem is, my opponent's got really good pressure on this side of the board, but because they've got the b-file open, I also don't want to castle queenside. So I need to just be careful of this pressure here. No, definitely not pre-moving that. Whew! Imagine if they played a move then. I am threatening to win this pawn at the moment because if they take, then I win the bishop. My queen is a little... Oh, actually, I'm not threatening to do that because then the queen would be trapped. Ooh. Always try and calculate that extra move. Yeah, I've put myself in quite a weak position here, I think. So I'm going to have to come back here and then the rook comes across with tempo. Didn't see far enough ahead there. And then my queen has just got no squares. Maybe I have to come here with the knight. And then when the rook comes over, it means that my bishop's trapped for a little while. I really don't want to push this pawn. I do have this move though, and I discounted it a minute ago because they've got two attackers on that square, but I'm happy to take with the pawn, remove their defender of their king side, their best defender, and if they come straight over with this, then my queen has a much better square. Can my queen be attacked in another way? Or is there another tempo move? I know that they can go, they can give a check. Not right now because I can just take it. Okay, I'm going to play this. If they don't take with the knight, or if they don't take this at all, I do have this with check. So it is a forcing move to an extent. All right, so about the same time now. I wonder what they were calculating during that time, because they spent 6.5 minutes on that move. So I have got this as an option. Or I could just push my queen forward. I also probably should develop, at some point as well. I think I'm going to play a move that they won't. I'm trying to make a move that they don't have in their 6.5 minute calculation. I doubt they'll have expected me to push the queen. And also, it just creates this annoying pawn on f5, which is quite hard for me to defend, but I also think quite hard for my opponent to attack because it's not a light square and they have a dark squared bishop. It is a light square and they have a dark squared bishop. Yeah, fair enough. So if they come in with their knight, it's actually not a huge threat, although I suppose I want to be able to move this rook across, so it does stop that straight away. So if they come here, that's threatening to win and to exchange the rooks, but I can meet this with this. And then if they do attack, then I can move the rook out of the way. The only thing I've got is temporary. They can easily challenge it, but at the moment I've got the only rook on the open file, but they've got better minor pieces. Their pawns are better than my pawns, and they actually do a very good job of cramping any moves by my minor pieces. So I need to find a way of making it awkward for my opponent. Well, they're doing a decent job of going down on time. So they had a huge time advantage, and now they are under 4 minutes, and I've still got 5:48, so that's good. But other than that, on the board, I'm being crushed, or at least I'm under significant pressure. They've got good control of these squares, so I can't infiltrate with my rook to any of those. When it gets to things like this, I wonder if I've missed a mate in 2 or something and they're just toying with me and they wait to 4 seconds on the clock and then they just blast out the mate in 2. Okay, yep, so I was thinking this. If this, then this. And if this and check takes... Well, there's two on it. I don't know if you have the same thing, but when my opponent's in time pressure, I still feel pressure. Like I'm like, ooh, 46 seconds. Make a move. My heart rate definitely goes up. So they've left defense of this square with the knight. So the rook can't now challenge this this file, which is worth noting. Do I push or do I defend with the bishop? If I push, then I've given a hook there, so takes... Push, push, takes, if I can draw arrows. But then this has got 2 defenders and 2 attackers, so that's fine. I think just push. I don't think that works. I think I can now win the bishop. Okay. I think I can push here. I think that's the best move. Could get out of this square. Is there anything I can do with this rook that's a tempo? No. Let's just challenge this bishop. If I start going over here, then the bishop eventually has this square. Yeah. I'm inviting this pawn in, which is a bit scary. Maybe I can go here now. I want them to take. They're not going to take because they want this pawn to come in. And now I can do this, and now they can't do this, which they may not have been able to do it otherwise in the previous example. But so do I take that pawn? I've got a passed pawn then of my own, supported, and it's obviously got the C pawns to deal with. This B pawn does. If I go here and then I've given up control of this square, so now I have to take and then deal with this, and this control just looks a bit scary. Maybe takes, and then just have control over the file. But then they can then just do this. Takes, and this is again a bit of an issue. Let's go for it. I think we can, yep, that's fine. I don't want to have this pawn here, just too much to deal with. I didn't expect that. One move threat. Nice, yeah, good move from my opponent, and missed that completely. Does ease some tension though, which is nice for me. So if I go here and they push, I can come here. No, that doesn't work. I think I just have to go across. And now if they take, I don't take back because I'd lose the bishop. Instead, okay. That's a good move for me to deal with, surely. This is great. I think this is good. No more pressure on this. Well, much reduced pressure on this. This pawn can't take now. I win this, and then they have to deal with this. Oh, I'm no, so bad. Missed this bishop. How am I not seeing this? I'm like, this bishop's going to be pinned in a second. Okay, that was pretty painful. So I have noticed, and we'll talk about 4 mistakes, like 2 mistakes and 2 blunders. However, I'm categorizing mistakes and blunders like less about how it affects the objective evaluation of the game, and more like how it represents a massive failing in my mind. So it's more subjective than objective. Okay, so the first move, which is basically the move which led to a cascade of silly moves, is h3. So at this point, when they played e6, I played knight c3 because I recognised that this was a threat. So they play knight f6, renewing that threat, and I start thinking, "Oh, okay." My mind just like closes in on this little square of the board, and I'm like, "Okay, I can move this. How do I attack this knight, which can't really move forwards in any way? Oh, it can move forwards here, so I'm going to play h3." And obviously, this is on. Like, there's something which isn't happening in my mind, and it should be. And also, I shouldn't be thinking. I still have to develop. I still haven't castled. I still haven't developed this bishop. I'm still a few moves away from fully developing. So rather than thinking of like harassing, well, it's not that I shouldn't be thinking of harassing developed pieces, but if I don't know the position well enough, and I'm not my ability to notice my opponent's threats isn't good enough, I shouldn't be making like preparatory moves like this. Like, this is ridiculous. So not happy with that. Then takes, and I pin the knight, and then I start doing silly things as well. I'm like, okay, I can win this. I can harass this knight then if harassing the other knight didn't work, and I just missed this. I just missed this move. This is not on my radar. Like I'm like, okay, this is pinned. It's attacked twice, and it's defended once. It's defended once. So I can force this. This has to happen. That's the only way to defend the knight. But it's not the only way. And I don't know how. It's hard for me to figure out why I don't see that move. But I didn't see that move. Not even close. So I'm now, okay, but that move, not only does it defend their knight, but it attacks my knight, which is undefended. It's just, it's terrible. So takes, and then, all right. There's something in me that's, I think when I make mistakes, it reverts me back to playing chess that I used to play, which is bad chess. And this is the kind of move that I would play. Like, just bring the queen out in front of my king. I haven't castled, and I haven't developed this bishop. It's not even close. And I should just play this. I'm like, I've got a knight. I've got a knight here. I may as well keep it there. I shouldn't be. I mean, that's generally a good idea. Keep the knight developed and in my opponent's half of the board, but not if you have to do this. This is terrible. This is a bad move. So I should have retreated, and then I can get on with developing. These moves should happen. When did this happen? Far too late. So, okay. So then, I think the last. Let's just go further forward. That's decent. That's fine. I'm developing my bishop eventually, and I'm just hanging on, but not really. Like, my opponent is improving, and I thought, okay, I can get rid of this bishop. Missed this move, just didn't see that. But I thought that this would have to be dealt with, and I did steal this. Okay, at this point. I mean, there's a lot. I probably could have improved a lot of things, but I'm just focusing on this one last move. This move here, they could be going to this square because it's defended enough. So they could be thinking of going to this square and this square. But I should see this pattern: this, forking this, and this, and I was just too quick to jump in here. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this. That defends that. I can't remember what I was thinking. If I even thought about this move I think I just briefly thought of this move with the knight. But yeah, missing completely that they can fork, and then that's just the nail in the coffin, basically. So my opponent makes a move which puts their knight on the rim, giving it only 2 forward moves. I should be looking at both of those and think, okay, well, he can't move there. Oh, but if it did, I'd be screwed. Oh, it's interesting. They could vacate that square. So I need to get better at doing that. That's essential. All right, 4 mistakes. Did I another one? Yeah, that was the mistake. Painful loss, but I learn from these painful losses, and I accept the pain. So, all right. Hope you're having a great day, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye. Yeah.